Hey my exiles, Zaior here bringing you an update on the unarmed Ice Monk build. We just started mapping recently and honestly this build smashes everything in front with huge speed and damage. With our Ice Strike and Hollow Palm technique, we will have one of the most entertaining builds in Path of Exile so far. In this video we will see how it works, the gear, the skill tree, the gems and some tips to make it smooth to play. Ready to take your builds to the next level? Let's go with the video. Okay my monks, let's start by explaining in a simple way what this build is in general. I mean what are the main resources we will take advantage of to do more damage and survive more in maps. This is so you have a general idea of how you can also improve or even change some things to have your own versions, without overthinking the construction of them. We start with the fact that this build is a combination of evasion and energy shield. Why? Evasion will give us attack speed thanks to the Hollow Palm technique node, which means more damage, and it also works as the chance to completely avoid enemy attacks. The more evasion you have, the more chances you have to dodge hits, being a key stat to survive. Energy shield will also be a key stat for both damage and defense. Why? For attack we gain crit thanks to Hollow Palm technique, and for defense energy shield acts as an extra layer that absorbs damage before it hits our life. And we will be using Ghost Shroud. Part of the damage we take is redirected to energy shield and also regenerates, so both things complement each other to keep us alive long. Later you will see in the gear how I distributed evasion and energy shield. Moving on to DPS, this will come from three main sources: our crits, attack speed and cold damage. Crit in this game is pretty busted, so we will take full advantage of it by adding points in the skill tree that I will explain later, and also with some support gens. It also synergizes with our Ascendancy node Sunder My Enemies, since critical hits will ignore elemental resistances, and our main damage will be cold. Next is attack speed. It increases the number of hits per second, meaning more DPS, since we will apply our damage faster. I have 6 hits per second, which is already pretty high, and it could scale even more. This will be achieved with gems and nodes. Next is cold damage. We will have multiply benefits in this build from gems and the tree. Here we will have 3 main skills: Ice Strike, an attack that deals direct cold damage to the enemy; Shattering Palm, a melee attack that applies crystal on enemies, stacking them up; and Herald of Ice, an aura that makes enemies explode when they die or when crystals shatters, dealing cold damage in an area. How do they work together? With Ice Strike you deal direct cold damage. With Shattering Palm you apply crystals, leaving enemies ready to explode. When enemies die or crystals break, Herald of Ice makes them explode, amplifying your cold damage and letting you clear packs faster and more efficiently. That's the general idea of the build and its basic functioning. In summary, evasion and energy shield for attack and defenses, crit and attack speed are important to scale in this build, and our main skills will synergize with each other. Let's see what I'm using so far in the build. Crackling Palm is a passive we gain thanks to the Thunder Fist's utility grabs. And as the name says, they are gloves that give us utility. So that's why these gems will go here. We will use Maim, so every hit slows the enemy, reducing their movement and attack speed, giving you more control in combat and making it easier to deal damage. Next is Clean Strike. It makes any low life enemy die instantly if your hit connects, ensuring faster and cleaner kills. Next is Blind. It blinds enemies, reducing their accuracy so they have less chance to hit you. And Elemental Armament to add some damage. Our main skill will be Ice Strike, applying the majority of cold damage in our build. We will link it with Cold Atonement for more cold damage, Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage, in this case cold, by 25%. Rapid Attacks for more attack speed to not let monster breathe, Pinpoint Critical, crucial to get more crit chance, letting us trigger Sunder My Enemies more often. I have 50% base, which is pretty good and enough to clear higher tiers. Blindside, giving us 50% more crit chance and damage against blinded enemies, as many of our skills will blind constantly like Crackling Palm, so again we boost our crit. Short Staff will help increase the damage and range of our attacks. We will use Frozen Spite to release Ice Charge, increasing the frequency of explosion across the map. Prolonged duration to make our charges last longer in fights. Perpetual charge so we have a chance not to lose charge when using them, though it counts as consume. Shock, so Herald of Thunder is more frequent. Plus, we benefit from Echoing Thunder for 30% more damage. Shattering Palm will be a key part of our build for more explosion and easier clears. Linked with Cold Atonement and Ice Bite for more cold damage. Ancestral Boost 2, so when attacking, Ancestral Cones appear replicating part of the attack, applying damage and skill effects to enemies while crystals are active. This boosts total damage and Herald of Ice synergy. Magnify Area to increase its AoE. Tempest Bell will still be essential for more damage, especially on bosses. Linked with Overabundance to gain an extra bell and have 2 active at the same time. Rage for more attack speed when ringing the bell, and durability, so it lasts more hits before expiring. Herald of Ice will be our main buff, since its great explosions dealing cold damage to enemies and it cannot be evaded, so it has 100% accuracy linked with Magnified Area 1 for 30% more AoE, spreading the damage further, Cold Atonement and Elemental Focus for more damage, and Cold Mastery to give the skill +1 level for extra damage. Wind Darcel will be another key defensive buff for the mod, letting us push enemies away to create escape windows and prevent dying. Linked with the same gems as Crackling Perm, except here we add Ping 1. This converts your physical damage into pin stacks, immobilizing enemies for a few seconds instead of stunning. This lets you better control enemy positioning. We will use Combat Frenzy to generate charts for charge stuff, but for that we need the Resonance node in the tree, linked with Profusion to increase the chance to gain charts. Another buff will be Ghost Dance, helping regenerate energy shield, keeping us alive especially in big packs, linked with Compressed Duration too, so we can reuse Ghost Shroud more often. Finally, we will have Herald of Thunder, for even more damage, chaining explosion to distant targets and boosting DPS, linked with Elemental Focus for 25% more damage, Concentrated Area for more damage against nervy enemies, and Lightning Attunement for more lightning damage. Lightning Mastery for +1 level and more damage. Let's start immediately with the mana issue before going into important nodes in the skill tree. With the Walker of the Wilds node, we will practically have infinite mana, since we recover mana when dealing elemental damage. All we need is a ring with percentage physical attack leech to mana, and since Ice Strike and Shattering Palm convert physical to elemental, it fits perfectly in this build. This node is super useful, since we won't need to worry about mana regen from any other source. Now let's look at the most important node so you understand where most of the damage comes from. Hollow Palm Technique, the key node if we want to go unarmed and get the buffs from Energy Shield and Evasion. We gain attack speed and crit while unarmed. I added these points here since they give us a lot of crit chance against blinded enemies, and we blind constantly thanks to the support gems linked to Crackling Palm and Wind Dancer, for example. Remember, crit is what triggers Thunder my enemies. Next down here, Bestial Skins doubles the evasion rating of our armor, works perfectly since our gear is mostly evasion, giving us both more defense and DPS. Since Hollow Palm grants attack speed per evasion on gear, huge. Continue with Falcon Technique for even more attack speed per 25 dexterity, great if we want to scale attack speed higher. These nodes increase crit chance and crit multi, since this build is all about generating as much crit as possible. They also give some extra attribute for buffs or gems. These other nodes to do the same, more crit chance, crit multi, and attributes, very necessary. I picked these nodes here since they increase damage while using Heralds, and we use Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, so it's extra global damage and sustain. Up here, nodes that increase cold damage and help freeze build up, giving DPS and freezing enemies faster. Resonance to gain charts for charge stuff, and synergy with Combat Frenzy buff. And with these nodes here, we add another global damage boost since enemies will be shield and shock, giving us 60% more global damage. Critical Exploit give us a 20% more crit chance. I think those are the most important nodes for this build besides some extras for damage and attack speed. Maybe as I level up, I will add some until reaching Subterfuge Mask. Also jewels with crit and attack speed could help. I got this legendary that gives percentage evasion from armor, which really helps with the Hollow Palm builds. Our Ascendancy will be the Invoker. This is basically the safest option for the monk. We will use I Am the Blizzard as our first 2 points, giving more cold damage and creating shielded ground on frozen enemies. Next 2 points go to lead me through Grace, super important to run more buffs since we will need a lot of spirit to sustain them. This note give spirit from energy shield and evasion on armor, very useful. Last points go into sunder my enemies and scatter them to the winds. Scatter give us elemental expression, which got buffed this patch, so if you already have it, you will see a big DPS boost. Focus on evasion and energy shield, also capping fire, cold and lightning resistances. For the helm, main affixes should be evasion and energy shield to benefit from a hollow palm technique for DPS and survivability. Another important affix is crit chance at least 25% fire resistant to help cap. Resistances you can spread across year as you go. My setup can be taken as reference, but what is non-negotiable is evasion, energy shield, and crit. Chest, same idea, lot of evasion, energy shield, and resistances. Use great iron runes here for more evasion and energy shield, or if you need more resistances, you can swap. For the rings, one with Leech to generate mana is mandatory to use Walker of the Wilds node. In general, both rings should be more DPS than resistances, but of course get some rest stats to survive. A ring with cold damage is great. Thunder Fist, best option to gain crit and utility. If you don't have them, use another like this one until you find them. Boots, evasion, energy shield and movement speed. I don't have them, but you should look for some priority. Some rest stats helps too. For the belt, mine is honestly bad. Haven't found a good one yet. Something like Ingenuity could work meanwhile and it's cheap. In general, as you can see, Zaior focuses on stacking as much energy shield and evasion as possible. Use this as a reference for your own setup. The grading guide will be in the video description and pinned comments. Okay my monks, that's it for the updated build video. I will leave you with a tier 11 map since I haven't gotten higher waystones yet. But for sure this build can clear tier 15 and even tier 2 pinnacle bosses. That is really fun to play. Hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to comment any question you have. Don't forget to like and if you want, subscribe to keep supporting the channel and reach more players around the world. See you in Path of Exile.
The world still holds surprises.